You're very welcome to this, the launch of the annual report of Focus Ireland for 2019. Under normal circumstances, we'd obviously be physically meeting, but this is an important day in our calendar. It's an important event for us to launch our report, and we wanted to proceed regardless of current necessary restrictions. We hope you will get as much from this format as you would had you all been physically present. Over the next little while, you'll be hearing from a number of people, from our CEO, Pat Jenigan, from our founder, Sister Stan, and most importantly, from one of our customers, Catherine Kernan. We'll also be playing you some short videos, which further elaborate on the work of Focus Ireland, which is set out in detail in our report, which is, of course, hopefully available to you immediately online. Before moving to the first of those speakers, we're going to run a short video for you, which is particularly focusing on the issues that have arisen for us in the context of COVID-19 and the particular challenges that this year has brought for our organization. So we'll run that video now. Thank you.
Lockdown wasn't easy. Homeschooling, working from home. I mean, we had to adapt, like everyone, I guess. The kids were fine, but they missed their friends.
It just feels like a never-ending nightmare. Of course you feel isolated, disempowered, trapped, just waiting on the day.
Dwelling on the future certainly didn't help. There was just so much uncertainty.
I try to stay positive. I really do. But everything just feels so hopeless.
More than anything, I just missed giving my parents a hug. We just wanted to get back to normal life.
Hello?
Hi Yvonne, it's Claire here from Focus Ireland. Great news. We have a place for you. We're getting the keys tomorrow.
Now my family can get back to normal life too.
That, I think, neatly encapsulates the particular challenges faced by our customers and therefore by ourselves in dealing with the current situation. Our annual report, of course, comprehends the full range of work which Focus undertakes in Dublin and right around the country, and which our staff are engaged in and day out. I'm going to pass you now to Pat Jenigan, our Chief Executive Officer, who will say a little bit more about the scope of our work. Over to you, Pat.
Virtually, one of the many firsts that you have experienced this year. Today is about reflecting on our work in 2019. However, the unique challenges of 2020 and COVID-19 are on our mind as we try to evaluate the impact that the pandemic has had on homelessness in Ireland. The public health emergency has presented Focus Ireland, an organisation providing vital frontline services, with many challenges in helping to support people experiencing and at risk of homelessness, as well as presenting us with unique opportunities to develop new partnerships and to access previously unavailable housing. If there is one COVID-19 lesson that we can learn from 2020 and apply to the future, it is the value of partnership. The pandemic reminded us all how important it is to renew this value and how effective that can make us. Focus Ireland and our partners in government, the various local authorities, the Dublin Regional Homeless Executive, the HSE and others should be very proud of this work and have shown the importance of collaboration. At Focus Ireland, partnership has always been a core value, and we know that it is essential to solving homelessness. After 6 years in which the number of people forced into homelessness kept rising, 2019 at last saw the numbers beginning to stabilise, presenting the hope that if we redouble our efforts, we can begin to turn the tide. There is still a very long way to go, but now is the time to talk about ending the scourge of homelessness rather than managing the damage it does. In our annual report, we want to explain the work we do and the difference we make. So the report is structured not around our own internal organisational units, but around the people we work with. In the section on families, we cover the work of our prevention services, housing services, research and advocacy staff, and the housing teams which undertake to support families, and the key donors who make that work possible. Our work with young people and with single people with complex needs is reported in the same way. Of course, for transparency and accountability, the details of how we deliver this work are important too. And therefore, at the core of this report is a comprehensive director's report and independently audited financial statements, which allow you to understand how we deployed our resources to the greatest effect during the year. It has been our strategic aim to move away from managing homelessness and towards ending it. And as the number of people looking for our support grew in recent years, we recognised the risk that we might interact with more and more people, but to less and less effect. To overcome this challenge, our services have worked to intensify their support with each person we work with. And as a result, for the first time in many years, we worked with fewer people than in previous years. But the benefits of the shift are clear in our impact. In 2019, we supported a record number of 1,790 households to avert a risk of homelessness or to move to a new secure home, which is nearly 200 more households than the year before. This reflects our philosophy that what matters is not the number of people who come to our door, but the number of lives that we can change. The success of our work must be judged by our impact on the lives of people, and we hope that this report will convey what is most important to us, that the fact that the people we strive to help are human beings and not statistics. There are many routes into homelessness, but every route out involves an affordable home. For 30 years, a key part of Focus Ireland's contribution has been to add to the number of affordable homes through our approved housing body, Focus Housing Association. And during 2019, we worked with local authorities and state agencies to directly provide 99 more additional homes. Also in 2019, the much anticipated opening of our award-winning development of 31 homes in Johns Lane West was marked. The belief that we can end homelessness is core to Focus Ireland, and we know that the skilled and dedicated work of our frontline services must be underpinned by effective public policies on housing and social services. With 2019 dominated by expectations of an imminent general election, we made a point of engaging with politicians from government and opposition parties to highlight the policies and priorities our experience tells us are needed. We were very pleased to see many of our key election asks around the development of a national youth homelessness strategy, a referendum on a constitutional right to housing, and the establishment of a housing commission included in the programme for government. And now we will work with the government to achieve these commitments. We hope that our campaigns on ending youth homelessness, the right to housing, on house building, social housing and family homelessness also contributed to a better understanding of the solutions to homelessness among public representatives and to more effective policies. Homelessness and the housing crisis were one of the main issues for voters in February's general election. And this message must not be lost during the COVID crisis. The government must recognise the scale of this problem and how important it is for people right across our society that we find lasting solutions which build new homes and good communities. But looking to the future, increased family homelessness has been one of the most distressing aspects of the housing and homelessness crisis. And Focus Ireland has, in collaboration with the Dublin Regional Homeless Executive, the local authorities, the HSE and TUSLA, continue to lead the way in understanding and reporting. We wouldn't be able to deliver these core services or explore innovative ways of tackling homelessness without the support of people across the country, from local community fundraising initiatives to corporate partnerships. In recent years, we found it increasingly difficult to meet the needs of families and individuals at the same time in the same place in our pivotal coffee shop. And in 2019, we saw the advance of plans for a new family centre to provide essential support to vulnerable families. I believe that with the support of donors and statutory partners, this new service will play a vital role in reports of our work in years to come. Work on our new family centre is only one part of our planning and preparation for the future. We are in the process of rolling out a new system for tracking the effectiveness of our services across the country and launching a new wave of Housing First projects in the Southeast and Midwest. We're also coming to the end of a strategy period this year, and we're currently working on a new strategic plan for the organisation. This next phase in Focus Ireland allows us to recommit to ending homelessness, but it also allows us to place even greater emphasis on partnership. As I touched on earlier, effective and innovative partnerships between government, local authorities, state organisations and NGOs are vital if we are to move on from struggling with ever-rising homelessness and work together towards an aspiration of bringing homelessness back down towards zero. To conclude, I want to thank our individual and corporate donors, all the statutory agencies and local authorities who have not only funded our work in 2019, but worked in partnership with us. I'd also like to extend my sincere thanks to all our frontline and support staff, as well as the boards of Focus Ireland and Focus Housing Association for their great work in 2019 and for rising to the challenges of 2020 with such innovation and determination. I'd also like to show you a short video about our End Youth Homelessness campaign from last year.
The students of Ireland are demanding that the policymakers effect real change to end youth homelessness. This is an issue that's affecting so many people. We care. We hope they'll care too.
We launched the End Youth Homelessness campaign at this year's Body and Soul Festival, and now 4 months on we have more than 10,700 signatures, and they've just been delivered to the decision makers, the policy makers of Ireland. Now it's time for the politicians to make the change that the people want.
End youth homelessness now.
End youth homelessness now.
End youth homelessness
now.
End youth homelessness
Now.
End youth homelessness now.
End youth homelessness now.
Thank you. I'm also delighted to introduce you to Catherine Keenan, who is here today to help us launch our annual report. In a moment, Catherine will tell her own story, but I would also like to say it is stories like hers which shows that there is a way out of homelessness for everyone, once the right supports are there when they are needed. Thank you for your time this afternoon. I'll hand you over to Catherine Keenan.
Good morning. My name is Catherine, and I am delighted to be at the launch of Focus Ireland annual report. After 7 years of homelessness in hostels, in March 2020, I got a phone call from Focus Ireland inviting me to view a 1-bedroom apartment. I was over the moon when I saw it. It felt like heaven. I was thrilled to immediately accept the offer. Unfortunately, the country then went into lockdown, but despite this, the staff in Focus Ireland and Mount Brown Hostel, where I was staying, worked together to arrange for me to sign for the lease virtually and get the keys in April. They also supported me in getting a move in the grant so I could finish my home. I couldn't explain what it feels like to have my own place. Sometimes I'm in town shopping and I start worrying about where I will sleep tonight until I remember I have a home. But after years of that anxiety, I still feel it. And I worry now about others who don't have that security. I love having my own home, and I'm enjoying the simple pleasures like making a slice of toast or having a family visit. Since I've moved in, I continue to receive support from Dublin Offsite Housing, and my housing support worker, Alicia Gason Lawrence, has been great. Sorry, I'm reading this. Sorry. Without worrying about where I have to sleep, I can now plan my future. I've been volunteering with the DePaul, and I hope to go back to education shortly. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who helped me when I was homeless, and a special thank you to Focus Ireland for my home and continuing support. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'd like to thank everyone that helped me out, and I do want to go back to education, hopefully next September, and still do my volunteer work for the homeless.
Thank you very much for that, Catherine. And it's great to hear the voice of one of our customers at this event, because we are very much a customer-focused organisation, and what we do is about ultimately helping those that we care for. And that's the philosophy that underpins Focus Ireland, and the philosophy that was brought to it by its founder, Sister Stan, who continues her role in the organisation as our honorary life president, and I suppose our inspiration on a day-to-day basis as well. So I'm glad now to have the opportunity of handing you over to Stan to say a few words. Stan?
Thank you, Michael. And thank you all for coming to the launch of our annual report this afternoon. And I hope you're all well and managing well in this very difficult times. We all know, you and I, and we all know the great hardship that the pandemic is causing to many people across the country, especially to vulnerable people. And that includes homeless people, the 9,000 men, women and children that are homeless. Home is the foundation stone of all our lives, our personal life and our family life. And during the pandemic, when we were all told to stay safe, where were we told to go? We were told to stay at home. Now, more than ever, this terrible time, every family and every individual needs the safety and security of a home. But not everyone has that security. And as this annual report shows, an average of 3 families lost their home every day during 2019. That's a shocking figure. Back in 1987, the International Year of the Homeless, I predicted that we could end long-term homelessness within 6 or 7 years. And we could have done that. But it didn't happen, of course. The point is that it could have happened. It could have happened, except that successive governments reneged on their commitment and their promises to provide housing. Sadly, instead of eliminating homelessness, as we could have done, we allowed the numbers to grow and to grow until now it is beyond crisis. The figure I mentioned no moment ago about 9,000 men, women and children, that thankfully represented a 3-year low. Working with the state, Focus Ireland was supported over 760 families, which included 2,108 people across the country to secure a home since the start of COVID-19 and the public health emergency. And that is a great achievement, and we're proud of it. But of course, it isn't enough. And we must remember that the lower number of homelessness may give the government a false sense that our homelessness is not too bad now. That thinking may be tempting for a government who has so much to do as it struggles against COVID, to deal with a traumatized society, and to rebuild a badly damaged economy. But this is no time for complacency with regard to homelessness. The reasons homelessness figures have dropped include the rent freeze, the ban on evictions, more people moving into local authority housing, and the driven collaboration across government departments and voluntary sector. Focus Ireland was delighted with these developments, though in truth the rent freeze and the ban on evictions are policies that we've been seeking for a number of years. But the government resisted it. And they resisted it, not only resisted it, but they claimed that such moves are unconstitutional. There is, it seems, a commitment to protect the rights to property and no balancing commitment to a right to housing. That is why Focus Ireland has been calling for some time now for a referendum on the right to be housed. Until everyone has a constitutional right to be housed, the government will always be hampered, or at least claim that they're hampered, by their obligation to protect the landlord's rights. In any case, it took COVID-19 to forge a change. The positive impact is there to be seen. These measures created some breathing room, and people working in the area of homelessness were able to keep people who were at risk of homelessness safe in their own homes. But these were temporary measures, and since they came to an end at the beginning of August, we are starting to see the underlying problem emerge again. We're starting to see in our frontline services, people are coming with notice for evictions. This is worrying, and there is a real risk of being overwhelmed with a new surge of homelessness. What we need now is the government to introduce both of these measures again, the rent freeze and the ban on evictions, and to do that immediately, to keep people safe in their own homes and prevent homelessness services from being stretched beyond its limits, as it's trying to deal with an expected second wave of COVID and the winter months. Meantime, it is clear that the delivery of more social housing is urgently required if we are to end homelessness. Speedy provision of additional social housing for the many thousands of people could enable those people to leave the private sector and leave room for others. If we did provide a large number of social housing, it would have a knock-on effect on the housing crisis, in that it would free up private accommodation, but it would also stabilise and even push down the rents to an affordable level. And this is something that we would urge the government to do. Devastating as COVID-19 has been, it's provided an opportunity for the government to reimagine the fight against homelessness, as they see positive examples of what works. We simply cannot let this advantage go and see people for whom accommodation could be found during lockdown being forced back on the streets again. The government simply has to take action now and commit to working with Focus Ireland and other agencies to offer homes to people who need them through an expanded Housing First programme. At Focus Ireland, we're convinced that if there is a sincere commitment to cherish all our children equally, this country can eliminate homelessness. We work tirelessly to bring this about by developing realistic policy solutions and bringing them to government. With over 85 frontline services in Dublin and across the country, working with people in need, we have the expertise, we have the experience, we have the know-how, and we know what is working and what isn't. And we have a clear vision of what needs to be done to bring this crisis to an end. This vision is informed directly by the work of our amazing staff from around the country, and this vision is outlined in this annual report. As Ireland works out how to live with COVID-19, we simply cannot let homelessness become part of the new normal. What we need to do now is to move quickly from short-term measures, from hubs and emergency situations, by providing social housing at an affordable rent. In conclusion, I would like to thank our frontline staff, our staff from Dublin and across the country, who've done amazing work and who have informed this report. And above all, I would like to thank our customers who've told their stories, families and individuals, and who are generous enough to do that, just as Catherine did this morning. That takes courage and it takes generosity. And I sincerely want to thank you all from Focus Ireland. Thank you for listening. And now I would like you to look at a short video on our great family centre, and that will come on right away.
The aim of the Family Centre is to have a space specifically for families who are experiencing homelessness. It's a place where they can come and they can make use of all the supports that we have here. A lot of our customers before the Family Centre opened would make the use of our other service at the coffee shop. However, the coffee shop didn't really have the capacity or the space for both families and for singles. We have a family team on site, and they will support families who are entering into homelessness and also currently living in emergency accommodations such as hotels and B&Bs. They will also link in with local councils and local authorities and even landlords to try and prevent this from happening. This is one of the family meeting rooms. The people who we work with can meet members from the family team here, and also they can make use of this space by meeting members of external services such as social workers or public health nurses if they want to. One of the practical supports here that we have in the Family Centre is the laundry facilities. They're free for customers to use. This is the canteen area at the Family Centre. Families can come and they can have hot and cold food throughout the day. They find this very beneficial because often in emergency accommodations, they're not really able to make meals or hot food. So this really makes a difference to their lives. Children are prioritised at the Family Centre. This is the childcare unit here. Children can come up here and they can relax or they can play. We have childcare workers who support the children. They can also provide additional supports to children who might need maybe one-to-one sessions with therapeutic play. Everything we do here at the Family Centre works towards moving people out of homelessness and also to stop them from becoming homeless in the first place.
Now we're drawing to a close, and as we do so, I would like to thank our contributors this morning, Sister Stan, Pat Jenigan, our CEO, and of course, Catherine Keenan, our customer. I'd like to thank also all of you for participating with us. We hope you found the event informative, and if you haven't already had a chance to consider our annual report, you'll find it on focusireland.ie. Thank you again very much and all the very best. Bye.